how are you all? This is third lecture of chapter number 2 of class 10 science, that is acid, base and salts. In the previous lectures we have learnt about the definitions of acid, definition of base. We have also seen the few examples of acid and base. In the last lecture we have learnt about the indicators. Indicators are the compound which can show us whether the given compound, given solution is acid, base or a neutral solution. Clear? So today we are going to see some few chemical properties of acid and base. Chemical properties, it doesn't mean that how acid is visible, what is the taste of acid, what is the color of acid. That are known as the physical properties. It means how it appears is known as physical properties. Whenever we talk about the chemical properties, it means that how acid reacts with different types of compounds. What is common between acids? Clear? Why each and every compound HCl, H2SO, why all of them are known as acid? Because they have some similar chemical properties. And chemical properties means how acid reacts with different types of compound. So starting from the first chemical property, so you can have the title chemical properties of acids. It is chemical properties of acids. First we will see all the chemical properties of acid, and then we will learn about the chemical properties of base. So the first chemical property, reaction of acid with metal. Reaction of acid with metal. This is the first chemical property. Let us see here. What is the reaction of acid with metal? For example, when hydrochloric acid, it means it is aqueous in state. Acids and base, when they react with each other, when they are performing the reaction, it means especially when they are in the reactor side, they are always in the aqueous state. When reacts with any of the metal, for example zinc, metals are solid in state, as it is a single element, it is a metal, they are solid in state. What type of compounds are formed and how compounds are formed? So first of all, as we see here, here it is a HCl, here it is zinc. Zinc is more reactive than hydrogen. So zinc will take place of a hydrogen. Zinc is more reactive than hydrogen, so zinc will take place of a hydrogen. It means zinc will displace hydrogen from HCl. Zinc will take place of hydrogen in HCl. So the compound form here is ZnCl2, zinc chloride, plus hydrogen will remain alone. It means hydrogen gas will be released. It is aqueous in state, and here obviously as it is hydrogen gas, so here we will put a upward arrow, so we can see that the hydrogen gas is released. Clear? The same thing happens when any of the metal reacts with different type of acid. For example H2SO4, sulfuric acid, obviously aqueous in state. When reacts with another metal, for example magnesium, obviously solid in state, then the compound formed is magnesium sulfate, MgSO4, obviously aqueous in state, plus hydrogen gas is released. As it is in a dye state, it will be gaseous, so we will indicate upward arrow, which indicates that hydrogen gas is released. See what happened here. Again here metals, most of the metals are more reactive than hydrogen. So magnesium will take place of hydrogen. So SO4 will react with Mg and form MgSO4, and hydrogen will be alone. Clear? So here when metal displaces hydrogen, the compound is formed metal chloride, here metal sulfate. Clear? So these are the simple compounds which are formed when acid reacts with metal. But most of the metals are more reactive than hydrogen. Then which are the metals which are lesser reactive than the hydrogen? The elements, the metals which are lesser reactive than the acids, that is hydrogen, that is silver, gold, platinum. These are the somewhat compounds, mercury, which are lesser reactive as compared to the hydrogen, which are less reactive. So when any acid, for example HCl, that is aqueous, obviously, when reacts with gold, what is the symbol of gold? Au, that is obviously solid in state. So when gold reacts with acid, when acid reacts with gold, there is no reaction, here the compound remains same, HCl and Au. Why? Because this gold Au is not more reactive than hydrogen. Hydrogen is more reactive, so gold cannot displace hydrogen. This is a simple displacement reactions that we have learnt in the chapter number 1. These are the simple displacement reactions that we have learnt in the chapter number 1. Clear? So when metals are more reactive than hydrogen, then it forms metal chloride, and these metal chlorides, this is known as salts. These are known as salt. This is a salt. This is a hydrogen gas. This is a hydrogen gas. Clear? Now it is a metal, and this is a acid. So we can say that when acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and hydrogen gas is released, So what is the name of this salt? It is zinc chloride. What is the name of this salt? This is magnesium sulfate. This is magnesium sulfate. As here it is no reaction, the acid remains same. What is the name of this acid? It is hydrochloric acid. It is hydrochloric acid. What is the name of this one? It is zinc. What is the name of Mg? That is magnesium. What is the name of H2SO4? It is a sulfuric acid. HCl, hydrochloric acid, Au is gold. Clear? Here also we have to write it is hydrogen gas. What is the formula of hydrogen? H2. So we can also write, instead of hydrogen gas, it can be also said as dihydrogen gas. It is dihydrogen gas. Clear? Dihydrogen means two hydrogen gas, that is H2, that is dihydrogen gas. Clear? So this is a complete chemical reaction. Compounds, its states and name. One thing remaining here is balancing. One zinc, one hydrogen, two hydrogen. So we have to put here 2. Now it is balanced. 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine, 1 zinc, 1 zinc. Here it is already balanced. 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, SO4, SO4, Mg, Mg. Here there is no reaction, so no need to balance. Clear? It will be already balanced. So when metals are more reactive than the acid, when metals are more reactive than acid, not acid but more precisely hydrogen, when metals are more reactive than hydrogen, then they can react with acid and form salt and hydrogen gas. This is also a salt, this is hydrogen gas. So we can say what is the common in acid? When acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and hydrogen gas. It forms salt and hydrogen gas. So how we can write? First property, reaction of acid with metal, then comes one line sentence. One sentence. What is sentence? That when acid, in the word form, when acid reacts with metal, write it down. When acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and dihydrogen gas. When acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and dihydrogen gas. Then after that you have to write this equation. This is a equation. Then these are the examples. Example 1, example 2, and it is not an example. Why? Because here gold is less reactive than hydrogen, so it cannot react. So you can also write 2, 2, 3, 4 more examples. Clear? So first name of the property, then word formation, explanation of the property, then equation, and then 2 examples. Minimum 2 examples. Clear? Getting it? Now moving on to the second property of acid. What is the second property of acid? reaction of acid with not only metal, reaction of acid with not metal but metal oxide, metal oxide. What do we mean by metal oxide? Instead of metal, here when acid reacts with metal, not only metal, it will be metal oxide. See, it is quite simple, huh? When acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and hydrogen gas. But when acid reacts with metal oxide, what do we mean by metal oxide? For example, zinc oxide. Then what is the formula of zinc oxide? ZnO. It is also solid in state. So when acid reacts with metal oxide, what happens? Zinc is more reactive than hydrogen. So zinc will displace hydrogen. It is a double displacement reaction. It can be said as a double displacement reaction. That zinc is more reactive than hydrogen, so reacts with acid and forms zinc chloride. It is same. Why? Because zinc is there, HCl is there, it will form zinc chloride. Now what happens? Hydrogen is moved out, so it is H2. But here it is also oxygen left from zinc oxide. So hydrogen and oxygen reacts with each other and forms H2O and forms H2O. So what do we mean by H2O? H2O means exactly H2O means it is quite simple. It means water. It means water. So when acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and water. It forms salt and water. Clear? Same here. Instead of magnesium, it is magnesium oxide. If it is magnesium oxide, then instead of H2O, here what will form? It will form H2O. Clear? And H2O means water. H2O means water. Clear? Getting it? And same here, the gold will not react with, so it doesn't matter what we are writing here. So write it down, the second property of acid. Write it down, the second property of an acid. What is the second property of an acid? When acid reacts with metal oxide, note it down, the statement of a second property. When acid reacts with metal oxide, it forms salt and water. It forms salt and water. Why water is formed? Because in the first property it was only zinc. Now we have oxygen. So hydrogen is not all alone. Now hydrogen reacts with oxygen and forms water. Hydrogen and oxygen forms water. That is quite simple. H plus O, H2O. Clear? Hydrogen when reacts with oxygen, it forms water. So when acid reacts with metal, it forms salt and water. First property, HCl. First example, HCl plus ZnO gives ZnCl2 plus H2O. H2SO4 plus MgO gives MgSO4 plus H2O. You can also use different types of compounds, different types of acids and different types of oxides. You can use different types of acids and different types of oxides. That instead of magnesium oxide, you can use calcium oxide, CaO. When H2SO4 reacts with CaO, when H2SO4, see here, instead of MgO, suppose we have CaO, that is calcium oxide. So when H2SO4 reacts with CaO, then it forms CaSO4. Why? Because we don't have magnesium. So instead of MgSO4, it will form CaSO4 plus H2O. It remains same. So the salt changes. It forms salt and water. Water has the same formula, H2O. But here calcium is more reactive than hydrogen. Then calcium will take place of hydrogen. So the compound will form CaSO4 instead of H2SO4. That is a salt. And then hydrogen reacts with oxygen and forms water. Clear? Here also, suppose instead of a zinc oxide, I am using sodium oxide. What is the formula of sodium oxide? Na2O. So instead of ZnCl2, it will form NaCl and it remains same, H2O. It remains same, H2O. HCl when reacts with Na2O, it forms NaCl. See, balancing will change. You have to balance the equation. When the compound changes, then the balancing may change. Here there is no change in balancing, but here the balancing might be changed because here it is 2 Na. Here it is only 1 Na. That is 1 sodium, and on the reactant side there are 2 sodium atoms. So you need to balance. The balancing will change, but the compound will not change. It will always remain salt and water when acid reacts with metal oxide. when acid reacts with metal oxides. Clear? Now, how many different types of acids are there? How many different types of acids you know? We have known 5 to 7 different types of acids. Clear? 5 to 7 different types of acids. Yes or no? HCl. If you don't know, then note it down. HCl, hydrochloric acid. H2SO4, sulfuric acid. H2CO3, carbonic acid. H3PO4, H3PO4, that is phosphoric acid. HNO3, that is nitric acid. HNO2, that is nitrous acid. HNO3 nitric, HNO2 nitrous. Clear? Now there is similarly H2SO3, it is also acid, that is known as sulfurous acid. If it is H2SO4, then it is sulfuric, RIC. If it is H2SO3, then it is sulfurous, ROUS, sulfurous. Clear? Then finally we also had CH3COOH, CH3COOH, ethanoic acid. That was an organic acid, hai? That is ethanoic acid, acetic acid. Clear? So you can take all of the acids and any of the metal oxide. See, only zinc oxide can react with HCl, it can also react with H2SO4, it can also react with H2CO3, H3PO4, HNO3. Any acid might be there, then zinc oxide can react with anyone, magnesium oxide can react with anyone. Clear? Getting it or not? So these can, any of the metal can displace hydrogen and form salt and water from the acid. So you have to write 10 examples, 10 reactions. How many reactions? 10 reactions of the first property when acid reacts with metal. It means two had been written on the board and another 10 should be written in your homework. That is 12 examples. When acid reacts with metal, it means 2 examples here, then 10 examples. You can take any acid, you can take any metal oxide. In the first property, you can take any acid, you can take any metal. Clear? But just accept the exemptions. So you should not use the exceptions, that is silver, gold. Why? Because they are very low reactive elements. They do not react with acid. Why? Because they are less reactive than hydrogen, so they cannot take place of hydrogen. The displacement reaction is not possible. Clear? And what are that exceptions? That is silver, gold, mercury. You can also include copper, platinum. These are the 5 examples of the metals which are less reactive than hydrogen. Clear? And remaining lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, aluminium, iron, zinc, lead, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, these nickel, magnesium, manganese, these are the metals which are more reactive than the hydrogen. So you can use any of the metals. Clear? You can also react one metal with the different types of acid. For example, you can write the first example HCl plus Zn, second example H2SO4 plus Zn. Clear? Getting it? So you have to write 10 such examples, complete the equations and in your homework. Clear? And then I will check if you have any queries in the equations, if you are not able to balance it, if you are not able to perform the, or you are not able to write the correct chemical formulas, then you can kindly message me. Clear? Thank you very much.